Hey, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, karibu sana or welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much. Today we are going to be making some spring rolls, and these ones are supposed to go to Mombasa. So kindly hit the subscribe button, share, like, and comment, and let me know where you're watching me from. And I know most of you have been asking for so many recipes, but I hope you enjoyed this one. And I'm also going to be dropping a few tips on how to go about making them. Well, for our spices, we have a blend of them. We'll have some grated carrots, some coriander, and for aroma, capsicums, shredded cabbage, and onions. So that is what we'll be having for vegetable spring rolls, and let's get into it. So I'm only going to be sauteing the onions. You don't want to cook them, you just want to saute them because again you want to have a flavorful, tasteful, like you can taste every bit of the ingredients that you have. So here I'm just going to saute the onions, and you can do this over high heat so that as you do so the moisture is evaporating. You don't want your filling to be soggy because it will end up having your spring rolls burst when you're cooking them. So you really have to make sure, especially when it comes to vegetable spring rolls, you need to make sure that no moist, like you don't want them watery, you don't want them moist, because they will end up, and especially because these ones are going far, you don't want them to tear on transit. So I'm going in with my spices. I had garlic, I had some turmeric, black pepper, and another mix of Indian spice that I usually has like chili flakes in it. It's very tasteful. I usually go in with all that. Remember, all this is limited to your preference. You do not have to copy paste everything. You can always use what works best for you. And there we add our carrots and our capsicums, stirring them. And at the end of the day, what matters most, and that's why cooking is an art, it is, did you get the flavor that you wanted? And so there is no limitations when it comes to cooking. You are your own artist in the kitchen. You can customize and curate your recipes as you do fit. This customer was very precise. She didn't want much, and that's why I've not used a lot of ingredients. She said, I don't want to order for samosas, cabbage samosas. Could you do that in spring rolls? And because I have the vegetable spring rolls on the catalog, I said, why not? So you let that simmer down, and then I'm going in with my shredded cabbage, and I'm going to leave this to simmer for a few minutes. And the ideal way to go about, especially cabbage and capsicums, they usually have a lot of water. So just allow them time to simmer so that by the time you're stirring them, almost little or no moist is left. You really have to be very careful so that you don't tear your pocket, or when you're making vegetable samosas, you don't tear your pocket. And in this case, because we're making our rolls, you don't tear our, spring roll wraps. If you're watching, kindly like, share, and you love what you're seeing, like and share, comment down below, let me know if this is something you'd want to try. And hey, I have said I will be showing you things from scratch. So as we let this simmer down, our next and yet very important, which I know most of you wonder, how do we go about making the wraps? How do we make the samosa pockets? I have a whole video that I will attach here. If you have not watched that, kindly go back and watch so that you become your own master and mistress in your kitchen. Learn how to make some of these snacks. They will come in handy when you have visitors. For your kids also, especially now that you have gone back to school, you want them to always come back to something they can bite, And so all these tiny little snacks come in handy. And the best way to go about it is learn. And you'll not master it in one attempt. So keep learning, keep attempting, and don't give up on your first attempt. Here I've already added the coriander, and that will be it. That is that. And our filling, our vegetable spring roll filling is ready. You can tell there is no moist, like it's not watery, and that is exactly what you're looking for, because if this filling is soggy, it will tear your pockets. Now let's get into how do we make the spring roll wraps. We're going to use 4 cups all-purpose flour, and just like we do with our chapati dough, For the 4 cups, we're going to also be using 400 ml of warm water. So those are 4 cups. I'm going to add oil, salt to taste, and get into the kneading. The reason why you have to be precise is so that you don't actually keep, adding flour, maybe water. You just want to make sure that you have it all right, so that when you start, there is no, pausing and stopping and thinking, is this enough? Is this going to be enough? This should be enough to give us 40 spring roll wraps. So as always, I always tell you that once you have added your water and you're sure you did it to the right measurement, resist the temptation. Resist that temptation to add water. Keep kneading until your dough stops sticking on your palms and on the table or whatever surface you're using. And if you're using a basin or you're kneading basin, make sure you knead that dough until it stops sticking on your hands and on that basin or on the work area. As you can see, I'm usually not in a haste. I just try to knead my dough until because I know the secret to well prepared either wraps or chapatis is a well kneaded dough, and that is exactly what I'm emphasizing on. And I think every time I'm doing kneading, I'm going to be telling you that please knead your dough until it is well kneaded, and your chapatis will thank you. You can see it's not sticking on my palms. I need a bit more, and then at this point I think this dough is already well kneaded, and it's only at this point that you add oil. Not too much, just like a tablespoon on each side. Knead a bit and then turn it, add more oil, and this dough should be good to go. You're going to let it sit for a few minutes. 5 to 10 minutes should be good before you start now partitioning it into 40 tiny little dough balls. They're going to be very tiny, and you're going to understand why, because now these ones are not going to be cut into quarters. So as the dough was sitting, I remembered, let me just pack the samosas. The reason I use these kitchen towels is so that even when I freeze them, because they're going to be in the freezer overnight, I'm going to send them tomorrow, which is now today, Friday, and you're going to be watching this video Friday. So I'm making this on a Thursday night. I pack them like that so that even when this container sweat, it's not going to have the samosas or the spring rolls soggy. So that's set up aside. Kindly like, comment, share, and comment down below. Let me know where you're watching me from, and let me also know which of the recipes we have shared before you're trying and how did it go. Also, it's good to note that sometimes when you're making these spring rolls, you have to have a bit of patience, because I remember there's a time I tried making the wraps from just the butter, like you make the pancake batter, but I could not. So I always say that there are so many ways to go about doing things, and this is my style. If it works for you, you can try it. And we always want to make sure that you're going with the simplest. If this dough is well rested, you can tell it's elastic. And now I'm just going to partition it into 40 small dough balls. That size, I know it looks tiny, and that's exactly the size we need, because we're going to be needing round wraps. I usually make my spring rolls from round or circular shaped wraps, and so I don't need them too big, because I'm not going to be, they're not going to be too big. It's going to be an 18 to 20 centimeter diameter wide. So that is what I'm looking out for in this one.
Hold on to the day, one again. I hope it's not too late, 'cause I know forever can start today. Forever can start today. Yeah. This feeling's ever changing.
So I use a sufuria to cut out the size that I need, and this is 18 centimeters. However, I realized that it was smaller and used a size that is a bit bigger, that is 22 centimeters big. And I was just estimating to see how it would look so that I don't overroll it too wide and have a lot of edges, cutouts to waste. So let's roll them.
Can't live with the blame. People talking, I'm just walking, trying to find my way. Now I'm solo, hard to let go. These feelings never change, 'cause I hold on to the future we believe in, and I hold on to our dreams while I am sleeping. Girl, I knew it from the very start.
So once done, same as the way we do it with samosas, you're going to blanch each one of these, not cook them, just blanching them, drying them, simply put, so that you can be able to separate them. Remember, I was pairing them in twos, so I'm just quickly blanching them and make sure that they do not overcook. And I advise that you try to separate them when they're still hot, so that by the time you're cutting them out, you do not tear them. So try to separate them when they're still hot halfway, and that helps you even when you have cut out to be able to separate them easily without having any of those wraps torn.
Hold on to my dreams while I am sleeping. Boy, I knew it from the very start. Always be the light in the darkness. I hold on to the day. One again. Yeah, I hope it's not too late. 'Cause I know forever can start today. Forever can start today. These feelings never change. Hold on. The future we believe in. Hold on to my dreams while I am sleeping. Boy, I knew it from the very start. Always be the light in the darkness. I hold on to the day. Hold on again. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, baby. Ooh, yeah. Hold on. Hold on.
So this was after realizing that the first sufuria was a bit too small, and I opted to take the one that is a size bigger. And you're going to see why this is important, because you do not want to be limited when you're folding out your spring rolls and have the fillings peel out from the edges. That is why you'd rather have a large wrap than a tiny one. And so I thought I better correct that before it's too late. So you're only going to have like 6 of those from the small size, and the rest are from this big size. Now we make our glue. As always, we use the all-purpose flour and plain warm water. And this one, you have to make it to the right consistency, just so that it's not too thick, it's not too thin, and literally you're making a glue. Okay, so you do not want to have some ugali like or chapati dough like glue, right? You have to have it like to the consistency of a pancake batter. That is good. So I'm going to be, or rather I'm going to try to, explain, but I believe that even from watching, you can just see how we're doing this. So remember, there were 2, separate them. And then this one is optional. There are people who do not add, they don't usually like apply glue all around the wraps. The reason I do mine like this is because I do not want to risk them opening up at any given point. So I go all around with the glue, then I apply it, as you can see. And now the folding. Don't worry, I'm going to slow this down. Everyone has to master this. And if this is something that you feel like you can pause and do it slowly, rewatch, rewind, you can slow down the speed and watch it slowly. So apply your glue all around, and you will notice that applying this helps you with the sealing. It ensures that once you have sealed this spring roll, unless it tears, it cannot open up. There is a difference between tearing and opening up. Now, it's not going to open up from loose ends, and that keeps your filling intact even when you're deep frying them. So make sure you also do not overdo. Add just enough filling. If you go in with like 2 tablespoons of this, your rolls will burst when you're frying them. Even with samosas, it's the same technique. You have to make sure that you do not overfill your samosa. Same applies to spring rolls. So I'm just going to fold it like that, and you can tell that by the time you're folding it to the last bit, it is fully rolled up and sealed. It cannot open up. And that is how you fold a spring roll. Now let's do the rest. And allow me to give a huge shout out to most of you who comment and leave very nice, insightful suggestions. And from my Instagram, I want to give a shout out to This Is Marge. Thank you so much for your recommendation, your suggestions. She actually told me, you know what, you can try overhead style when you're recording your videos. And here I go. I know I'm trying, and I hope you appreciate my effort. But I also appreciate so much when people come to me with suggestions. So I really do appreciate you and feel appreciated. Our next shout out is going to go to Susan Mwadime. She actually watched me on YouTube and chose to purchase the cookbook all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you so much. I really hope that cookbooks helps you as your chapati making. But I was so thrilled to learn that even without the right tools, because she told me she has very light pans, she has never burnt her chapatis. So kudos to you, and I truly hope that the cookbook helps you even do much better. Not the best in your business. So to everyone supporting me within and out there, God bless, increase you abundantly. I do not take this for granted. If you know my journey, you know I just started with mere chapatis. I did not even know how to go about making samosas, things like spring rolls, mahamris, and all these things that you see on my catalog. I am a testament that if you set your mind to do something and dedicate your time to it, you definitely can ace it, and nothing is impossible. As long as you put your best foot forward and leave the rest to God, everything is possible. And there, guys, we are done with the spring rolls, and I'm going to be packing them, and yes, have them stay in the freezer until today evening. Today is Friday. I made them yesterday night, and I'm going to be dispatching them to Mombasa in the evening. So at first I had packed them, and then I remembered I have not used the kitchen towels. And remember, they're an essential because they're going to be frozen and they're going to defrost along the way, and you don't want them sweating, the container sweating and having your spring rolls soggy, and in the worst case scenario, have them tear and the customer receives them torn. That would be such a bad thing. So after all this, imagine, after packing them like this and almost saying, I'm done for the day, I was so exhausted, I will not lie to you. I remembered, no, you can't do them like that. And I had to redo every single panet. But anyway, they just fall. So I literally removed them and packed them again and added the kitchen towel. So yes, just like we did with the samosas, it really helps. It does help. And like I've said, it's to trap any sweat or moisture that might be trapped in between the spring rolls and the panets, and that helps. And that brings us to the end of this beautiful video. I really hope you've learned something, and if you've watched up to this far, thank you. God bless you. So this was how I packed them.
Hold on, hold on.